tracking Erin. First tonight on our news weekend, a tropical storm watch is now in effect for the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the southern Bahamas has been put on notice as Erin becomes the first major storm of the 2025 season. What residents can expect in the coming days, plus canceled. Over 600 Air Canada flights are grounded following a labor strike. If you've got a ticket, we'll tell you the next steps and the heartfelt story of grief and triumph as the parents of a fallen sickle cell patient host a food giveaway in their daughter's honor. Our news, the weekend edition, starts right now. This is our news weekend. Thanks for joining us. I'm Berthany McDermott. All eyes locked on the Atlantic as Hurricane Erin has intensified into a Category 5 monster in just hours, the first storm for the 2025 season. And for Bahamians, this scenario hits close to home. We haven't forgotten the nightmare of 2019 when Hurricane Dorian ravaged parts of Abaco and Grand Bahama, leaving behind $3.4 billion in damage. Now, Erin's latest track shows the danger of the direct hit is easing, but forecasters warn don't let your guard down. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie is monitoring Erin's progress. Ian, this storm is a real sobering reminder of Dorian. What should we be looking for?
Okay, thanks, Berthany. Now let's look at what's happening right now. As we can see, Erin is still continuing its westward track, and that is still of a concern. However, we anticipate that a upper level trough will come off the eastern seaboard and eventually move it towards the north and away from us. As we can see the track here, Erin is a Category 5, very powerful storm. And just yesterday, it was a tropical storm. So what happened? It went through rapid intensification, and that's when everything went haywire. However, as it moves towards the northwest and north, it still is expected to be well to the east of us, but we do anticipate that we will expect some rough boating conditions, mainly across the eastern Bahamas and along the Atlantic exposure. So we're asking residents to please exercise extreme caution if you decide to venture in a boat. And actually, you shouldn't even be trying to go anywhere this week. Berthany?
Yes, Ian, and our minds are with our brothers and sisters in the southeast Bahamas tonight, as those in the Turks and Caicos Islands But with this latest development now in the peak of the hurricane season, what does this mean for the remainder of the season?
Well, Berthany, traditionally the peak of the season is anywhere around September 10th, 11th, and peak activity normally happens around mid-August through mid-October. So right now we're pretty much on track. However, we are seeing stronger storms, and most can attribute this to climate change. Waters are warmer, conditions are ripe, so we are asking persons not to be scared, but rather be prepared throughout this and each hurricane season moving forward.
Thanks so much, Ian. We'll check back in with you later on tonight. And as Erin moves west, Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commodore Floyd Moxley says the force is ready to act if the system turns towards Bahamian shores. Moxley says in the event of a shift, all Marines will be called back to duty immediately.
Once any part of the Carbon Belt of the Bahamas is threatened by the storm, then I will cancel leave, and we would everyone will come into the Coral Harbor base, and we will enact the hurricane orders and the hurricane plans.
Meanwhile, Moxley says the force has been readying ships and personnel.
We are preparing the ships in the event that they need to do hurricane avoidance. The hurricane platoon is standing by. We have done drills and disaster preparedness exercise for events like this over the past few months, so we are prepared. The disaster recovery ship, HMBS Lawrence Major, is being made ready in case we will need to load her with the container city for any part of the country that may be impacted.
State Minister Leon Lundy says he's hopeful the hurricane shelter in Abaco will be completed in time for this season despite multiple delays. The facility suffered a major setback in June when it was vandalized. According to the Disaster Risk Management Authority, several interior walls and doors were defaced with spray paint, insulation was scattered across the floor, and there was even an attempt to set it on fire. Lundy, who was attached to the Office of the Prime Minister and oversees disaster risk management, and promised the shelter would be ready for use this hurricane season, except that didn't quite materialize. He says an official opening date should be announced soon.
We're having a meeting in about 2 weeks that will come up with a definitive date to give you in terms of the opening and the opening ceremony and everything for the shelter.
Would you say it would be open before the end of the hurricane season?
You said before the end of the hurricane season? Well, definitely I want to give a definitive date when I give one. I don't want to speculate or just assume that it would be. I'm hopeful that it will be, but definitely we'll get those details to you.
The shelter, originally promised by the Minnis administration after Hurricane Dorian in 2019, has faced years of delays and cost increases since the Davis administration took office in 2021. When asked about critics who say the project is taking far too long, Lundy said this.
Well, I think firstly we want to get it right. We don't want just to open up a building that's not safe, that's not ready. We want to make sure that, as someone pointed out earlier, that we're dealing with the most vulnerable amongst us, that we have everything for disability. It's there, it's ready, the kitchen, everything is set and good to go. We just don't want to open up and then you have a problem.
If you booked a trip with Air Canada, there's some troubling news to report tonight. Strike action has forced the airline to cancel more than 600 flights, including international routes, Saturday morning. In a note to passengers on its website, Air Canada said the strike was called by the Canadian Union of Public Employees, which represents 10,000 flight attendants. The airline is urging travelers booked between August 15th and 19th who want to make alternative arrangements to change their flights for free, applicable to tickets purchased with cash or redeemed points, as long as changes are made by August 14th. For passengers with non-refundable fares, Air Canada says you can cancel your itinerary and receive the unused portion of your ticket as a future travel credit. A police corporal who has found himself on the other side of the law is said to have attempted suicide while being held in custody Friday. Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Sharia King confirmed the incident to Our News today. Our News understands the officer, who has not been identified, allegedly tried to hang himself. At the time, it is unclear why he was in custody, his current condition, or which station the incident occurred at. This is a developing story that we will continue to follow. Police on Grand Bahama are investigating two separate drownings that happened just hours apart Friday at Celebration Key. Police say the first victim, a 79-year-old American man, was found unresponsive around noon while snorkeling. Officers say a lifeguard pulled him from the water and performed CPR, but he was later pronounced dead by a doctor. Then just after 2:30 p.m., police say they were called to another vessel where a 79-year-old American woman had been found unresponsive. Reports indicate she was swimming in a pool when she got into distress. Police say despite CPR efforts by a lifeguard, she was also pronounced dead. Autopsies will be conducted to determine the exact cause of death in both cases. And several foreign nationals have been convicted of overstaying and are now facing fines and deportation. 6 Haitians and 1 Jamaican pleaded guilty before Chief Magistrate Roberta Reckley on Friday. Fines range from $300 to $2,000 with jail time if unpaid. The Jamaican, O'Neill Stapleton, was discharged with a warning, but like the others, was turned over to immigration for deportation. And in a separate exercise, 3 Chinese nationals, 1 man and 2 women were also sent back to their home country on a Copa Airlines flight. When Our News Weekend comes back from the break, taking the tourism product to the Foxhole community, why the leader of the official opposition Free National Movement believes the historic community is missing out. And from Nassau to Buckingham Palace, the UK High Commissioner is moving on. Tonight, he reflects on his stint in the Bahamas and what's next. That's coming up when Our News Weekend returns.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision is actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard says Fox Hill is missing out on a major piece of the country's tourism pie, and he wants to see the historic community get its fair share of economic opportunities. He made the call during Fox Hill Day celebrations Tuesday, using the platform to highlight what he calls an economic fight for freedom in one of the oldest communities in New Providence. Joshua Williams has more.
Fox Hill Day, celebrated every second Tuesday in August, is steeped in tradition. But this year, along with the music and food, came some serious messages from both Prime Minister Philip Davis and Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard. Pintard told the packed congregation at St. Paul's Baptist Church that while millions of tourists visit the Bahamas each year, too few are experiencing what Fox Hill has to offer.
Today, there is a new fight. We fight so that the tourists that come into the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, we hear the numbers, 11 million in total, 5 million cruise passengers. But the question is how many of them are making it to our historic Fox Hill. So the fight for the future is the economic fight for freedom, the empowerment of boys and girls in Fox Hill, mothers who make the best belly cake, coconut tart, the best cold salad, who cook the cuisines that tourists have not yet tasted.
He says those traditions, rooted in African ancestry, should be shared with the world and not just celebrated locally. Crime also on the minds of both leaders, with the Prime Minister addressing last weekend's mass shooting that claimed the lives of 2 teens and injured 5 others. Pintard echoed his call for peace.
Let us work towards a future where the guns are silent and our young men are turning to each other instead of on each other. That when we come to church, we come to celebrate God and not to mourn yet another one of our children that has passed.
And while Pintard says they're looking forward, he also says it's important for Fox Hillians to remember their rich past.
Fox Hillians, like other Bahamians, are not only interested in the emancipation of the past, which is crucial for our development, but also the emancipation of the future. But we're told if we are to enjoy a future of freedom, we must appreciate where we came from. And our forefathers and mothers toiled to fight for freedom for all of us. And over the years, we have stood as a strong people.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks, Joshua. Well, after 3 years in the post, the United Kingdom's High Commissioner to the Bahamas, Tom Hartley, has officially wrapped up his tenure, leaving with what he calls a legacy of stronger ties between Britain and the islands. Hartley says he's especially proud of the progress in education, from expanding scholarship opportunities to donating archival material for the history curriculum, supporting music programs, and even bringing British teachers to the Bahamas. Hartley, who spoke to Our News ahead of his departure, also pointed to advances in trade and tourism. But he says education is where the UK has truly moved the needle.
The one we're most proud of is in the space of education. I think it was the first thing the Prime Minister spoke to me about, that he wanted that to be a focus from the UK, that we should do more on education. And we've done a huge amount. We have 5 times as many scholarships now as we did when we started. We've donated 10,000 pages from our National Archives to help with the history curriculum. We've hosted diplomats for a day. We've sponsored Learn to Sail programs. We've donated musical instruments to schools in Cat Island and Eleuthera, and we supported British teachers and speeches at schools. We've done a huge amount in the education space.
Looking ahead, Hartley is heading back to London after a decade overseas to take on what he calls a prestigious next chapter, serving as a private secretary to His Majesty at Buckingham Palace. But he admits leaving the Bahamas is bittersweet. And before he left, Hartley shared these parting words.
I'm very pleased that my replacement is a very wonderful diplomat, a lady called Smita Rossetti. Like me, she's a career public servant. She was previously in Morocco and before that in Jerusalem. She's a fluent Arabic speaker from all of that time, and she's going to come with a whole new set of energy and new enthusiasm for the Bahamas. She'll come with her young children as well, and actually I'm really jealous. I really wish I could stay for another 3 years, but of all the people I could hand over, I'm really proud that it's Smita.
Still to come on our news weekend, Team Bahamas takes the lead in day 2 of swim competition. Our Sasha Lightborn has a full recap from the pools, but first.
The NECAC Championships are off to a start in Grand Bahama, and we take a look around the baseball world. Our sports weekend is up next.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you, and I say to myself, what a wonderful world.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Good evening, I'm Tage Adderley, and we are back with our sports weekend. The North American, Central American, and Caribbean Track and Field Championships, or as we call them, NACAC, is the premier track and field event in our hemisphere. This year's edition began yesterday in Freeport, Grand Bahama. The meet started yesterday at the Grand Bahama Sports Complex, and athletes from across the hemisphere were on the track last night. We had a few notable finishes from Bahamians. Shanae Miller-Weibo came second in her 400-meter heat, finishing in 51.44 seconds. Pertasia Johnson, who finished ahead of Shanae in the Nationals, did the same thing. She came second in her heat with 51.07 seconds. Anthea Charlton took the bronze in the 100 meters in a time of 11.12 seconds, and Camille Rutherford came sixth in the same race in 11.23 seconds. And Denisha Cartwright came sixth in the 100-meter hurdles finals in a time of 13.33 seconds. And that was all just from the first day. The meet concludes tomorrow. If you're in Grand Bahama and you want to see the best athletes in our region, be sure to head out there and check it out. Now on to the diamond to see how Bahamians did on Friday night. Jazz Chisholm smoked a 2-run home run to right field to power his New York Yankees to a 4-3 win over the St. Louis Cardinals last night. Coach Anton Richardson and his New York Mets fell 11-9 to the Seattle Mariners. The Mets jumped out to an early 6-4 lead on the strength of back-to-back home runs from All-Stars Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto. But their bullpen surrendered 7 runs, and their rally attempt fell short, however, as the M's pulled out the win. Down in the minors, Christian Robinson went 1 for 5 with an RBI single. His Reno Aces lost to the Las Vegas Aviators 10-9, and Ian Lewis went 2 for 4 with a couple of singles, as his Beloit Sky Carp whooped the South Bend Bears 7-2. Now, everybody at all levels played some more baseball today, so we'll talk about that tomorrow night. And before we go, the Bahamas basketball team should be wrapping up their second friendly against Nicaragua in preparation for the FIBA America. We'll get to that tomorrow evening. Until then, for our sports weekend, I'm Tage Adderley.
Thanks, Tage. Dominance from day one. Team Bahamas putting in a winning performance at the 29th Goodwill Games. Our Sasha Lightborn is in Barbados and filed this report.
Team Bahamas wasting no time dominating the very first race of the meet, a new meet record in the girls' 8 and under 100-meter freestyle. Skyra Chambers picked up Team Bahamas' first medal, a gold in a time of 1:15.07.
It feels very, very good. I'm very proud of myself. Going down on my first lap, I was very energetic and strong, but the other laps after that, I started slowing down a little bit. And then I decided to pick up my speed on the third lap the third lap, and I made it.
Team captain Madison Julian and Raphael McBroom also took gold medals in the girls 13-14 100-meter free and boys 15-17 100-meter free respectively. McBroom setting a new meet record in a time of 52.83.
Honestly, I went into that race just thinking, keep my head down, think about myself, and finish strong. I don't always have the best starts, but I know I can finish. So that's what I really focused on, and it really helped me tonight.
I didn't know I broke the record till I got out, because you can't really see the thing. But I feel amazing. And the record in the books.
Cottrell Taylor also took home a gold medal in the girls 11-12 50-meter breaststroke.
It makes me feel good because I went into the race with the 4th fastest time, and I was just trying to probably bring home a gold. And I had a lot of high expectations from myself and from other friends and family.
Now assistant coach Drew Lightbourne says Team Bahamas is right where he expects them to be.
Started off pretty slow. We got a few medals. I think we're in first right now. I'm pretty happy about that. We're used to that. We only have 3 sessions at Goodwill, and our nationals has 8 sessions. So this is like a breeze for them.
By now, day 2 should be completed. Be sure to stay tuned to the Our News social media pages for the latest medal tally and the total scores. Reporting for Our News from Barbados, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Thanks, Sasha. Honoring a sickle cell warrior. The parents and friends of a fallen patient reflects on her life and battle with the disease. That's coming up when Our News returns.
They're blue for me and you, and I say to myself, what a wonderful
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Welcome back to Our News Weekend. Mostly clear skies outside the Our News studios. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie is back with our weather forecast. Ian.
Thanks, Bethany, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome back, everyone. Currently outside our studios, we're under mostly clear skies with a temperature of 88. Feels like very warm still at 95. Winds are east-northeast at 8 miles per hour. Across the country at this time, we have 85s in Freeport as well as Marsh Harbor, 87s in Allenstown and Governor's Harbor, 86 in Great Harbor Key, a pair of 88s in Nicholstown and in the capital. Central Bahamas continue with those 88s in Kemps Bay, 86s in Arthurstown, Coburntown, Port Nelson, Deadman's Key, and in Georgetown, Exuma, 87 in Black Point as well. Southeast Bahamas, 85 in Duncantown, as well as Electoral Bay and Colonel Hill, a pair of 86s in Abrahams Bay and Providenciales, Turks and Caicos, 87 in Matthewtown, Inagua. Satellite radar and imagery at this time, we have weak troughing across the northwest Bahamas that triggered 1 or 2 isolated shower activity. But yes, the main activity that we're going to continue to monitor is major Category 5 Hurricane Erin that will continue to move towards the west and dump some shower activity across portions of the Turks and Caicos and Southeast Bahamas tonight and into tomorrow. Tracking the tropics right now, we're back looking at Erin. Erin should continue moving towards the west, rapidly around 16 miles per hour. That should slow down when it is expected to gradually turn towards the northwest and eventually northward, which should spell a sign of relief for persons across the Bahamas. For the northwest Bahamas, we're looking at rip currents possible. Winds east to southeast 10 to 15 knot, seas running 2 to 4 feet. Low tide at 8:54 p.m. tonight. High tide at 2:38 a.m. tomorrow morning. In your central and southeast Bahamas, again, rip current risk is there. Winds northeast east 10 to 15, gusting high at times tomorrow, mainly in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4, higher in gusts. In those swells, increasing as we get the anticipation of Erin closer to the eastern portion of our islands. In your extended forecast, looking pretty good into tomorrow, but as the week progresses, as Erin pulls to the east of us, we expect some trailing moisture associated with it, and this will translate into some light shower activity, possible isolated thunderstorms, but those highs will still be sweltering into the low 90s, with your lows in the upper 70s, low 80s. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
Thanks, Ian. Danielle Ferguson Gibbs is described as a sickle cell warrior by family and friends. However, she sadly passed away 3 years ago at the age of 32 due to complications from the disease. Since her passing, her parents, Danielle and Jean Ferguson, have established a foundation to keep her memory alive. Its purpose is to embody the essence of Danielle, focusing on service, community, and raising awareness about sickle cell disease. On Saturday, Danielle's parents, along with some of her line sisters from the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, gathered for a community giveaway at the Salvation Army Food Center on Meadow Street, where they distributed 150 plates. Clad in colors that represent a symbol of support and awareness for the disease, the initiative was organized in honor of Danielle's birthday. Danielle's line sister and local chapter president Crystal Culmer told us they were eager to come out and celebrate her the best way they knew how.
Danielle was a foodie, and so she loved food. Any restaurant that you wanted to try out, you asked her opinion, she could give you her opinion on that. And so food was something that we thought, okay, Danny would have been celebrating her birthday, and she had a caring heart, she had a servant's heart, and so she was very adamant or committed to serving others.
Danielle's father, Daniel Ferguson, told Our News that he's still struggling with grief, and talking about his daughter is difficult. However, there is no place he would rather be to honor his daughter's legacy.
Well, this was something she would have been doing with her sorority sisters. Always going, just trying to help somebody as well.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Berthany McDermott. Make it a great weekend, everyone.
Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.